everyone, and welcome back to Home and Creativity with Monique. I want to first say thank you to all my existing subscribers, and thank you for those that stop by and just to take a look at my channel to see what I have to offer, see what my content is. It is truly appreciated. Thank you so much. I hope my content is good enough that you can get something out of it, and hopefully you'll like and subscribe. But this tumbler that I have a picture of right here, I will be doing this video on recreating it for a friend of mine. She had this tumbler created by someone else, and she's had it for a couple of years, but she said that it's been destroyed somehow, or something happened to it. So she asked me to remake this cup for her. So today's video, this is what I will be doing, and also showing you some other cups and things that I will be doing as well. I will have included in this video a picture of all of my material, everything that I used, and how I did everything step by step. So stay tuned. Okay guys, so this is a picture of some safety items that you may need for this project. You will need a mask, and if you can look at the top left corner, I have a picture of a mask and a picture of me and a regular blue mask. The mask to the far left of me would be the ideal mask that you would need, but I didn't have that type of mask, and I had to use two regular blue masks. And also, if you are using the regular blue mask, make sure that you are in an open space where it's well ventilated and you have proper airflow. You'll also need gloves, and get gloves that are suitable for you. Some people have allergic reactions to vinyl and latex, so make sure you have gloves that suits you. Also, you may need an apron because this project can be kind of messy, and you wouldn't want to ruin your good clothes. And as I stated earlier, make sure you're in a ventilated, a properly airflow area. And I did my project in my garage with the garage door open, or you can do it outside. Or make sure, if you are in a room, make sure you have a window open, doors open, or something like that. And I will explain why in the next picture. Okay, on to the next items that you will need for this project. If you will look at the left top corner, and I will list the items going down. You will need a stainless steel tumbler. Today I will be using a 30-ounce tumbler. You can use whatever size tumbler you like. You will need a cup turner. You could use Mod Podge or acrylic paint, but today I will be using acrylic paint. You will need paint brushes for your acrylic paint. If you're using Mod Podge, you will need a sponge paintbrush. You will need glitter, any color of your choice. I will be using a medicine cup to measure out my resin or epoxy. You will also need resin, and epoxy, and you can get whichever brand. Do your research and do whatever brand that suits you. You will need popsicle sticks for mixing the resin. You will need a heat gun blower. It's necessary, but sometimes you really don't need it. And tumbler holders. Back to the resin, the epoxy. It comes as two parts. You have the actual resin and you have the hardener, and the kind that I use is called unicorn, and it's a ratio of 1:1. So if you're using 1 tablespoon of resin, then you'll need to use 1 tablespoon of the hardener, and you will mix both together until it's crystal clear. But I will get into all of that when the video starts. Okay, so in this clip I am preparing my cup to be painted and glittered. So I'm just introducing my items to you, what I am using. Okay, and make sure your tumbler is clean. And I flipped it upside down, so I'm starting with the pink paint first. I am doing a two-tone color cup, and I am eyeballing it. If you want to make a two-tone cup, I forgot to mention to separate the top of the cup from the base with electrical tape, and paint the top first and glitter the top first. And make sure you go back over your cup with your colors a few times to ensure coverage. Okay, so now it's time to glitter it, and don't worry about the mistakes. The mistakes can be fixed. So I'm applying my pink glitter to the top. And I'm shaking off the excess glitter. Also, the plastic plates that you saw, I use that to catch my glitters so that I can pour my glitters back into the containers. And I'm rinsing my paint brushes off with water, of course. Okay, now it's time to paint the base, and I will be using black paint for the base. And just make sure you go over your cup to ensure that it's completely covered, that there is no silver showing. And also, if you eyeballing using the two-tone technique, make sure that it's not touching the pink paint and glitter. So I'm going to paint the base a few times to make sure I get good coverage. And now I am applying my black glitter. And make sure when you're done with painting the cup that you immediately use the glitter so that your paint won't dry, because the paint can dry quickly right after you applied your paint. So this completes the first step. You will put your cup on the cup holder and let it dry for 1 to 2 hours. I forgot to mention that you can use the Mod Podge instead of the acrylic paint as a coating. Apply your Mod Podge all over your tumbler with the foam brush and sprinkle your choice of glitter on top and let it dry. Okay, for this next clip, as you can see, my tumbler is completely dry. I actually let mine dry overnight and I placed it on my cup turner. I also have other cups that I'm doing, so you may see that in this clip as well, but we are focusing on the pink and black tumbler, and I am removing excess glitter from the tumblers. So this is the epoxy that I mentioned earlier. It's a 2-step. You do a ratio of 1 and 1, and for 130 ounce tumbler, I normally use 1 tablespoon of hardener and 1 tablespoon of resin, and all together that equals 2 tablespoons of epoxy. So that's how much that I use on my tumbler, my 30-ounce tumbler. But I am making a larger amount of epoxy because I have more than the pink and black tumbler that I'm doing. So as you can see, I've measured out both of my epoxy, and I'm pouring both of the liquids inside of a bigger container, and I'm going to slowly stir the epoxy until it's completely combined. So how would you know it's completely combined? Well, once you first start off stirring it, it turns like this little cloudy white color. But if you keep stirring it and stirring and stirring it, it will turn crystal clear. And make sure you scrape the side of your cup, and also get excess epoxy off your popsicle stick, and keep mixing it all together until it's completely combined. And make sure you mix it slowly. This is sped up. Okay, so as you can see, my epoxy is mixed and it is the crystal clear color. I am applying heat to it only to help pop out the air bubbles that's inside. So I apply heat and I stir it a little bit more, and I let it sit so that the air bubbles can dissolve. So after it sits, then it's ready to be applied to your glitter tumbler. Okay, so my tumbler is still on my cup turner, and it's time to apply the epoxy. So because my cup is two-tone, I am starting with the top part first, and because you don't want the black glitter and the pink glitter to merge together. You don't want the black glitter on top of the pink, or the pink glitter on top of the black. So you do each section by itself when you're working with a half and half colored tumbler. And also to protect your cup turner and table or your surrounding areas, well, I'm using a paper plate to catch excess epoxy that drips down. There are mats that you can use that can be in place of what I have that will catch your epoxy. So on this cup, I am also applying the epoxy on this cup as well. And I, on this cup, because it's one full color, you can apply the epoxy all over the cup all at one time. There's no certain way to apply the epoxy on the cup. You just using your fingers to spread it evenly on the cup. So make sure that you putting a good amount of epoxy on the cup and smoothing it all over. Okay, so after you epoxy your cups, make sure you let your cups dry for 8 to 12 hours. And mine have dried for 8 to 12 hours. Now I'm about to put my decal on my cup. I use my silhouette to cut out my design for my tumbler. So my design has been cut out and I weeded it out, and I put transfer tape on top. And transfer tape does what it says it does. It transfer your print on the tape, and you apply the tape on top of your tumbler. Make sure it's smooth, and you slowly peel it off, and your design is on your tumbler. So I am weeding out my friend's name, and I will also repeat the same steps to put transfer tape on top and apply the decal on the tumbler as well. Now that your decal is on your tumbler, now it's time to epoxy it again. So follow your steps for your epoxy. Place it on your cup turner and smooth your epoxy on top of your tumbler. Okay, so this is the next day. So my cup has dried over 8 hours. I believe it's been 12 hours. So now I am preparing my cup to be clean so that I can get ready to deliver it to my friend. So as you see, I have a razor blade, and you can also use an X-Acto knife. But what I'm doing is I'm scraping the excess dried epoxy off. So this goo off that you see, you can also use that to help clear away dried off epoxy and paint and whatever may be that dripped off inside your tumbler. And you can purchase the goo off at Walmart or any hardware store. But also with that, use a mask and use your gloves, because it has a very strong chemical scent to it as well. So use your precautions when you're using any type of chemical. So I am cleaning my cup, making sure I remove the excess dried epoxy where it's not supposed to be, and paint as well. Okay, so when I am done, I am going to wash my tumbler with soap and water. And you can wash it with dish detergent and warm water. The care for this cup, I would not recommend to submerge it completely in water, but as you see how I'm washing it, just hand wash it if you want it to last long. So hand wash it and don't submerge it in water. And that's my complete product.